is such a simple thing you can do that will make such a big difference to the decisions that you make. For me, it's been a really life-changing thing. Hello, welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how I use the HALT method to make better decisions and to manage my emotions. Let's talk about it. So HALT is an acronym standing for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And the idea of it is that you don't make any big decisions or you don't pay as much attention to your emotions when you are feeling hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, because you can end up acting from those emotions as opposed to making a rational, well-reasoned decision. I had heard of this technique before to help deal with anxiety, to help bring you back into the present moment, but it is also vitally important in addiction recovery. I am in recovery from addiction, and this technique has helped me so many times. Just in general, using this method will help you stop sending passive-aggressive texts or texts that you then regret. This will help you stop taking things so personally. This will help you gain some perspective, and I think it's just a way to also just check in with yourself and see if you're actually taking care of yourself on a day-to-day basis. The way that I use this is as 4 levels that I have to address before I can act. Anytime I'm feeling sad or I'm in the mood to eat like a whole tub of ice cream or something like that, asking myself these questions. First, am I hungry? And if the answer is yes, then I need to, before I do anything else, I need to go and eat something. And if the answer is no, I'm not hungry, then I move on to the next one. Am I angry? So then I have to do something to deal with the anger, then deal with lonely, then tired. So do you see, it becomes sort of like a safeguard to my actions and my day because the last one is tired. That's the end of the day. Maybe I just need to go to sleep, wake up the next day and carry on. It's a really simple method, and it's just, I think, more about getting into the habit of asking yourself these questions. Let's just take a minute here before I send off that angry email or before I say something that I'm going to regret, and assess the situation. HALT. Am I hungry? Yes, go eat something. Am I angry? Now, in terms of addressing these things, am I angry? Probably. Anger is a very common emotion for me. I've got like an undercurrent of anger at all times. To then combat that, so when I'm asking myself, okay, hungry, no or yes, sorted that out, eaten something. Angry, no or yes, for me, normally yes. What can I do about that? There are several things I can do about that. The most helpful things that I've found in terms of dealing with anger, some of it is, obviously, it has quite a deep root, in which case that's not going to be solved in a day. There are definitely some things that require more inner work, but if it's a particular situation or a particular person that has annoyed me in any given day, the things I found most helpful are journaling. This can be making a gratitude list, even just typing something on your phone, free writing on my laptop, because sometimes when I'm angry, I think you might be able to relate to this too, you can just have so many thoughts going on and so many different threads that you can't write it by hand because your mind is going so fast that you need to type it out, in which case I will just type something out on my laptop. So journaling or writing about what I'm feeling, it's such a basic thing, and you've probably heard of it and you might be like, oh, come on. It actually has really helped me. It has the capacity to really help you too, so I would encourage you to try that. Other things that help me deal with anger, going for a walk. I mean, particularly now that it's springtime, I mean, can you see I'm partially in the sun here because it's lighter later, longer days. Lovely. So going for a walk helps me, it helps to like dissipate the anger in terms of like movement. So if you're someone who's inclined to going to the gym or going for a run, those you probably know already are brilliant things for getting out your anger. But for me, just like going on a walk, it's movement, it feels like progress, it's like the illusion of productivity. I'm going somewhere, even if I'm just walking around the block. And also just being in fresh air, trying to go somewhere where there is a lot of green space, a lot of trees, maybe birds and squirrels and rabbits. Now it's spring, there's going to be more rabbits around. There's one particular place that I know if I walk to it, there will be loads of rabbits. And I'm excited for that now I'm thinking about it. But going for a walk, that whole process, going for a decent chunk of time, maybe half hour, that can help dissipate any anger that I'm feeling. And it also helps me get more distance from the situation, allows me to eventually make a more reasoned decision instead of impulsively acting out of that anger. But what if I have eaten something, I've gone for my walk, I've done my journaling, but I'm still feeling bad. I still feel like I want to make an impulsive, bad decision that I know will be bad in the long run, but I'm still not feeling great. The next one, carrying on with the HALT acronym, is lonely. So, have I spoken to someone today? Have I actually not just had a cursory hello, how are you, surface level vapid conversation, but have I actually talked about something meaningful? Have I actually gotten in depth? If I ask someone how are you, are they actually telling me what's going on? Can I have more connection in my day? Can I call someone who I know always cheers me up or always gives good advice? Is someone I know struggling and I can give them a call just to try and cheer them up or see how they're getting on? I think people often think that loneliness is being alone. Yes, that can be the case, but it's also, you can just be in an environment full of people, even people you know. I think we can all get that it would be quite lonely to be in a room full of people that you don't know and you feel very out of place. That could be quite a lonely experience. For some reason, I'm just thinking of The Great Gatsby, surrounded by all of this wonderful decadence and yet still feeling awful. Even if you're around people you know, that can still feel lonely if you're dealing with something and grappling with something and you aren't able to express that, or you don't want to share it yet for whatever reason. You can end up feeling lonely even though you're not alone and you're with people that you love and trust. It's a difficult emotion, and I feel like it maybe has some kind of stigma attached to it because we associate it with being alone, especially if you're someone who feels a lot of emotions and feels things. I'm in recovery from addiction, so I have nothing to take the edge off. I am constantly feeling everything and it sometimes feels relentless, and not being able to express that or not having anyone that I want to express that to, that can be quite a lonely experience. If we're dwelling on the L of the HALT acronym, sometimes this can be a mini challenge or like a sign. So many of us, I think, don't want to bother other people with what we're dealing with. We feel like people don't understand or they won't get it. But in reality, think of the way that you would feel if one of your close friends or like a cousin or anyone that you really love and care about, if they phoned you up out of the blue and were like, listen, can we talk about this? You would probably be like, yes, of course. And you would listen and you would help them. You would just be there for them. And afterwards you would probably think, oh, I feel really honoured or really glad that they felt able to call me just out of the blue and share everything that's happening. I did a whole video about why you need to stop trying to go it alone and start asking for help, which I will link for you up here. This L, this step, can be like a challenge to you to stop trying to do whatever you're trying to do by yourself, to stop trying to deal with it alone, and to reach out and see that there are people who care. But let's say you're stuck on the L, you've had something to eat, you've dealt with your anger in whatever way you can. Maybe now you've even phoned someone, you've taken that step. Maybe you phoned a few people, maybe you went and talked to a neighbour, maybe you called your sibling. You've done this and it's not helped. And I think a key part that I want to say here is you have to be doing these things in good faith, right? You can't just be doing them to like tick them off the list because then it won't work, because then you will always harbour some anger. You will always be like, well, I talked to this person but they would never understand. Like, you can have, at least speaking for myself, I can have a bit of an attitude about it. If I get to the end of the acronym, to the T, and I think you've not really engaged in good faith there, then I have to start again. It's basically just like safeguarding me from making a bad decision. But say you have done all of this in good faith, you've got to the L, you've phoned someone and it's not helped, and you were really honest and they were helpful, they weren't rushing you, you were just able to have a really nice, open, vulnerable, emotional conversation. But even so, you're left feeling just not great, and you're still like, you know what, I want to go and buy this really expensive thing or make whatever impulsive decision, whatever it looks like to you. Then you still have one final barrier to you making that bad choice. You have T. Not tea, although I do love tea. You have the T of the acronym, which stands for tired. Now, this could be if you're a person who can take naps and is able to take naps, both in terms of their schedule and also in terms of just physically being able to take naps. I have never been able to, even when I'm really tired. Just the idea of like setting a timer for half an hour, I then lie awake for half an hour. I don't fall asleep easily anyway. Naps, not for me, but if you're the kind of person who can and likes taking naps, absolutely, this is the time in this decision-making assessment process to take a nap. But otherwise, and this is kind of the great thing about this acronym, is if you are tired, what you really need is a good night's sleep. So that is putting off the decision, this bad decision that you're contemplating making. It's putting it off for another at least 10, 12 hours, right? If you're gonna really do the acronym, the hungry, angry, lonely, tired, if you're really gonna do that in good faith, then logically you need to fulfill the tired requirement, you need to have a full night's sleep, a good night's sleep, and then when you wake up in the morning, you can reassess and see how you feel. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time I wake up and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't make that decision yesterday. I'm so glad I didn't send that text. I'm so glad I didn't impulsively decide to do this, because I have now got some, sorry, we've got the sun back. Hope that's not distracting. Because then you get some distance from the decision. It's such a simple method, the HALT method. It has saved me many times from even something small like I want to order a pizza, something tiny like that, to then as well big decisions. I mentioned I'm in recovery from addiction. You can see what the big decision might be there. It's helped me so many times because we can just get really fixated on whatever we're feeling in a particular moment. Having this method, as long as you practice it and learn how to implement it, it gives you a structure that is so simple. HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And then as we've discussed, you go through those, you have actions that you take to try and address each of these things. For me, it's been a really life-changing thing, really grounding. Now that I'm aware of this process, it just sort of becomes automatic for me. I don't really have to consciously think it through anymore, but it enables me to have some distance from my emotions and separate myself from the intensity of whatever feeling I'm feeling that's making me want to make a bad decision. It is honestly such a simple thing you can do that will make such a big difference to the decisions that you make. So I would encourage you to start implementing this in both small ways, like I said, with the ordering takeaways, or to bigger decisions, more impulsive things if you are that way inclined. It can be such a helpful strategy. I would really urge you to try and implement it. I have made a whole playlist about my recovery and sobriety journey so far, videos about my recovery story and also how to change your life in a year, as I have done. So I will leave that playlist on the screen for you to check out those videos if you so choose. God bless, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.